The finals just had its brand new update 6.9. We'll go over all the comparisons there, as well as some developer updates, where that will lead into additional stuff from my previous video. We'll check out some comments from Oscar and the community, as well as a whole bunch more. What's up, world? It's Utopia here, back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things the finals. As always, we'll jump into Oscar's opening statement, where he goes on to say that it's sledgehammer time in the finals, and that the update 6.9, as you probably have seen, brings that all new heavy hitters event, a 5v5 platform fighter mode where your only job is to bonk your opponents clean off the pop drop arena. And yeah, you literally cannot eliminate somebody unless they get thrown off. They'll just go down to 1 HP. So pretty fun there, and a pretty cool mode. There's also some contracts you can complete and unlock rewards with. There's some additional goodies they've thrown in here though. As they mentioned, the XP Dash is also live. They've boosted XP and fans gain through to the end of the season. As he says, time to level up and finish strong. Which yeah, you get 20 days of boosted XP, and you can definitely feel the boosted XP after each match. Really nice to see there, and glad that they're putting that out so early. Where we move on next here, World Tour enters its final phase. That's with the Sponsor Showdown. Every match you play helps your favorite brand take over. Will it be Njimo, Aspuz, or Alpha Acta? So as we had with the previous season, kind of a bit of a showdown here, and whoever will take the crown. Or if we jump over to the patch notes side of things, we can see the brand new Twitch drops. Or you can unlock the all-new Broadcast Blaze. That's for the KS-23, the Riot Shield, and the Bow. There is also some incredible news with the arena. They mentioned the tides have shifted, and the water in Kyoto will no longer slow you down. So as you can see here, you can move freely through the water like an aquatic creature, and that should basically get rid of a lot of the complaints with Kyoto. I know a lot of people that played Cash Out really disliked it for that overall. As I played Power Shift, I actually really enjoy Kyoto, and the water never really influenced that overall. But I'm really glad to hear that it seems like this overall will kind of alleviate that entirely. For the Cash Out enjoyers, let me know if it's actually up to par now, and if that has alleviated a lot of your concerns. They also brought back the Peace Center. That has been officially added to the TDM rotation. Super happy about that. I knew they weren't going to let that content go to waste. I actually really like that map overall, so I'm super glad they added it sooner than later. Jumping over here, they have this section called the End of Endless Effects, where they have, yes, finally tracked down and eradicated the root cause of the most persistent and annoying bugs in the game. A complicated but infuriating issue which could cause states of effects to persist forever. These are the items that will no longer have persistent effects. That's for sonar pings, tracking dart, motion detector, burning, gas, invulnerability on respawn, invisibility, and the nullifier. As they mentioned, they are relieved to have this fixed so no enemies are permanently tracked through walls and no more teammates constantly on fire. It did seem like a fairly rare issue on my end. I only seen it maybe once or twice ever, but I have heard other players encountering that issue, so I'm really glad they finally tracked that one down. Next up here, it wouldn't be a weekly patch note without a shop update, and there are a plethora of new cosmetics other than the ones that you can get for free. And yes, there are a ton with this one. That includes the Sizzle Core helmet, the tail of the tiger, and there's also one more tail as well. That one is called Bow Before Me. We also have the Hydro Slam set. Nice little sledgehammer skin there with the TJ Can pad. Obviously it stands for Tiger Juice. There's everyone's favorite of this patch so far, the Thrummer Slammo, which yes, is a sledgehammer with an iron sight on it. That's really funny and cool to have. There has been some other imagery with the sledgehammer having an iron sight on it. As of right now though, you cannot put an iron sight on any of the sledgehammer skins or any of the sledgehammers. You will have to get this skin specifically to have that on there. There's also a few more additional items here like the V-Hammer moves, TJ Pop Claws, the Hard Candy Theory Sledgehammer, the Virtual Vortex animation. As I said, there's a ton of cosmetics with this patch, so really cool there. Although I will mention, some of these, like the Tiger Set Tail, the Tiger Sizzle Core, those do have a 21-day timer. The Bow Before Me tail doesn't, so you can get that at any time. Moving on here, yes, we do have the Balance patch. And this does actually include a decent range of weapons. We have the ARN-220 that updated the recoil pattern to be the same for both magazines. That should now feel a bit more consistent to aim, as you can see here. I went over this in one of my previous videos, but basically the ARN-220 had different recoil patterns depending on the mag. Obviously it was realistic with the weight differences there depending on which mag you had on which side of the weapon, but for making the weapon feel more consistent, that is nice. FAMAS also decreased the amount of visual recoil when firing. That should make it a little bit less shaky. For the KS23 enjoyers, there was a plethora of buffs here. They've increased the accuracy across the board here while running, standing still, crouching, crouch moving, aiming down sights, firing from the hip. As the dev note mentions here, these changes should make the KS23 more accurate while in various movement states, hopefully increasing its viability. And yeah, as you can see from some of the footage, it does feel decent overall. The M11 also got its change here, where it decreased the jitter at the end of the weapon's recoil pattern, making it smoother and easier to use. And they also had it decrease the amount of visual recoil when firing the M11, making it less shaky. Melee weapons got a change across the board. They have improved hip sweeps across all melee weapons to make them more reliable. As a result, it should feel like fewer sweeps get lost to collision with objects or geometry. They also believe this change will significantly improve the reliability of melee weapons, but they'll also continue to make sure that there is further improvements there. And yeah, as you could tell, you could still do the sweep mechanic here, getting both enemies with the AoE dash. The XP54 did get a bit of a nerf here with some adjustments to its fire rate. They decreased that damage back to 16 from 17, but they have increased the fire rate from 850 to 860. The dev note mentions that it was performing exceptionally well since their last buff. It's actually basically outshining the ARN 220. However, they want to bring it back in line since it was basically above all their weapons, and they want to try to place it somewhere where it was before. Of course, there were some additional bug fixes and updates. I'll run down those very fast, then point out the major ones. Animation had some aim blocking issues with jump pad, with the M60 reload bullets now hidden. Audio got some issues with spectator mode and the sort inspect. They fixed some clipping issues with cosmetics, and the Season 3 Ruby rewards will now be distributed. This one's actually really cool here. They even give a dev note to thank all the S3 players who did sign the petition. Now you should start seeing your S3 Ruby rewards show up, the player card background and emblem, and then a player card badge in the next update. And they also give thanks to a very good egg named Newton. He's been in my DMs a bunch. We've been trying to get this issue brought up, or at least a petition there to get them the rewards, as they kind of felt left out with the next seasons receiving all of these. So really glad, happy to see that there, and thank Newton if you are a Ruby player from S3 for getting this badge, as he has been persistent for 6 months straight trying to get this sorted out. We also had some game mode fixes here. The first one is a major one for power shift enjoyers. They'll now actually receive that 25,000 cash out at the end if they're in overtime. And the game show widget and respawn timers have been fixed as well. They did some additional performance fixes here for stability, shader compilation, and crash network data fixes. Overall though, it should cover it for the patch note side of things. Jumping over, we do have our dev and community mentionables. This first one here is an extension of my previous video. We talked about spoos, the test flavors, everything they got going there. Well, Rob does give even more insight to what's going on there. He said here they have multiple different test flavors and the final one is not yet locked. So it does seem like they're still doing a bit of toying around there. I would assume they probably have 3 to 4 flavors launching, which if that's the case, that is quite awesome. I can't wait to see that in stores if it is in my local area, or if I do have to purchase online, I probably will do so as well. This next one here does come from Oscar, who gives a little bit of an update and an insight with the majors. He does mention that they have the hotel locked down and booked, and that if you actually do qualify for the majors, they'll fly you out and get you in that hotel. So they already have everything pre-planned. Really nice to see they have everything laid out. I have seen issues with local conventions that I've gone to where they had to redo dates, all that stuff due to hotel bookings. So I'm super glad they have that one nailed down, and it seems like they have all the pre-prepped and pre-planning they needed to do. We had one other community mentionable here. This one comes from somebody that did get the small Namatama. Now, I did unbox the large Namatama. If you want to see that, it's in my previous video. However, as you can see from this post here, the small one is a lot smaller than the large. But if you wanted a little tiny plushie, you could do so, and it's still available, where the large Namatama is sold out. However, you do get the same in-game code for both. And I am still running that giveaway for the Namatama plush in-game code. Again, this is not for the plushie. I haven't started out how I would distribute that just yet. Maybe eventually I do giveaways for those goodies and merch. But as of right now, I am giving away the code that came with my Namatama. So if you want to enter that giveaway, it's over on my Discord. It wouldn't be a finals video if we didn't have those showcases from the finals runway, where I'm going to start covering 3 to 4 per video until I catch up a little bit, as I am quite far behind. We have this highly insanely upvoted one by Crypto. He's got a ton on here before. He's really good at these. If you haven't recognized this one already, it is from Volume 1 Elimination Bill. Yes, sorry, I have to call it that way. However, this one looks insanely accurate and makes sense for all of those upvotes. Shout out to Crypto, really well done. Next up here, we do have Honey. This was actually his very first post, the Orf theme. I actually really do like the Orf cosmetics, so I really enjoy this one as well. I think he's got some great theming here with the hair matching the pants and the shorts. and just an overall really unique one. Next up here we have one from Jin Soldier. He's calling this one Highway Heister, and yeah, again, a really unique one here for the Hotel theming. Honestly, this one looks like it would be sold as a bundle, so some nice work there for that one as well. And then last up here we have Rick Ricardo, who shows off his cowgirl Dee Dee, but in dark neon theming. This one again really nails it down, and he is using that hat to make it black and white. I love when they add those variable cosmetics. Hopefully they do in the future that kind of recolor your skins. All in all, that one is really good as well. Overall though, that's about covered for today's video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and until the next one, deuces.